Welcome everyone back to Bold of You to Say. We're back with another episode. We were going to review Borat 2, but
I'm a lazy
due
bastard.
due to scheduling conflicts, we will have to postpone that for next week or whenever Jared feels like watching Borat 2. So, in lieu of that, we did a little bit of talking about the Quest 2. I made some strong points about that.
I gave my overall review in all of its vague, nonsensical glory.
Yes, Jared just got a Quest 2, and I made some points about Facebook as a company that are very those takes are very hot, so be careful with them. You might want to set them out to cool.
They're like pizza rolls or pizza bagels.
Yeah.
If you're from the 90s.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows only 90s kids ate tiny bagels covered in cheese.
We also talked a little bit about Joe Rogan, said a lot of stuff about that, so statistically you probably disagreed with something in it. So you can yell at us on social media, and then we will address each and every one of your comments in next week's episode. So make sure you listen to next week's episode, or at least download it. Either one is good for analytics. And finally, we covered the life, very short operation, and death of Quibi.
Yes.
So we got a great show for you. Stick around because there's a surprise at the end.
Yes.
Surprise is that there is no surprise.
The surprise is the image of me naked with butter on every inch of my body.
I think that counts as a war crime, so I don't think we're going to do that.
It's now inside your heads, gestating.
All right, on with the podcast.
Let's go.
All right, so Jared, you just got your Quest 2. You got it in the mail, a week ago now?
Maybe less than a week ago, I think.
I don't know. Time doesn't exist for me anymore. So you've been playing around with it for a little bit. We played some VR chat and Rec Room together. So I'm curious what your first impressions are overall of the headset.
But I like it. I think it's a fun thing to do and stuff, and like it's enjoyable, like actually playing games and like moving around in them and stuff. Because it's like a whole new dimension that you just never get to do in most games. However, even though I like it, that's not to say that it isn't without its downsides.
Yeah.
For example, I don't know if it's just a problem with my Quest 2 or if anyone else has a problem with that, but some of the inputs just don't really work well for it. Like, I noticed that the other day when I was playing VR chat with Ian. Our friend Ian, for anyone who
shout out to
doesn't
Ian.
know the context. Yeah. But, no, I was playing the game with Ian, and I noticed that one of my hands just wasn't working properly, and because of it, certain things that he could do with the skins that I have, I couldn't do. And shit like that.
And keep in mind, Ian is on Quest 1.
Yeah, he's on the old model, but I'm on the newer one, and I'm having problems with inputs and things like that. And then a big problem that we've noticed is, for some reason, I don't know if Facebook/Oculus knows what a party chat is, but I feel like they forgot what it was during Oculus 2's development, because whenever I start to game with people and I'm in a party chat, the party chat is disabled for me. I can hear people in the party, but they can't hear me at all. So it just results in this mess.
Yeah, and it's got to be a bug with it. I mean, it could be a bug with just your headset, but it's got to be either your headset or just Quest 2 in general, because Ian and I have not had that issue on our Quests, and we're both on the first one.
It's not that big of a problem for me, but it's starting to get to the point where it's just so annoying. I'm thinking about just like trading mine for Ryan's. It's like, hey, yours works. Here, you can have this one. It's nice. It's a shame too, though, because it's such a nice thing. Like, it's lightweight, it works. I have just the normal strap, and it's been fine for me. I don't know what everyone else's problem was with it, but mine works fine. It gets the job done. But like, it's just the microphone doesn't work right, and the controllers are a bit funky. Like everything else has been working right though, but then there's like problems with like the things you have to connect to it. Because uh, on Facebook, my name isn't Jared; it's Jerry Mafoofs, which is my nickname
It's
that
a
everyone
pseudonym.
calls me. Yeah, and apparently because that's not my full legal name, Facebook will just ban me. They haven't done it yet, but I think they will at some point.
They
Uh,
definitely could. Their guidelines technically say that your in order for your Facebook account to be legitimate is that it has to be your full legal name, which mine isn't even my full legal name.
yeah,
Like my legal name isn't Alex, it's Alexander. Spoiler alert for my memoirs. But yeah, so like could my account be shut down? I don't know.
yeah. And then apparently it's all
And
linked to
also
your Facebook
if you
account.
fake your
So if it gets
birthday, that's also grounds for termination on your account.
and I don't think mine's fake on my account. I think I have my birthday right.
Yeah, I know mine is correct because I was one of the losers that waited until they were actually 13 to make their account. But growing up, I knew people in like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade that had Facebook accounts. So, to this day, they probably have their birthday set to like 1995 or something.
Yeah. But like another problem though that I have though is that on Facebook though, I have two technically because I had one of them get hacked and I haven't been able to disable it. I don't know if Facebook automatically deleted the duplicate one, but yeah, no,
A duplicate account.
yeah. Because technically, if you were to Google search my name, not Google search, but Facebook search my name, I'm sure you'd find the second Jerry Mafoofs, the first one technically.
Yeah. Yeah, you're also not supposed to have two accounts. So, yeah, Facebook is definitely um they're very, I don't know if strict is the right word, but yeah, they're very particular about what's allowed on accounts. And so people are running into issues where their account isn't quite up to the standards that Facebook sets. So they're
Yeah,
just getting their entire Oculus libraries wiped out.
yeah, it's that's just bullshit.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier that you still have the stock regular strap,
Yeah,
um, which for you is fine, but a lot of people find it uncomfortable, so they bought the Elite strap or the Elite strap with the battery pack attached. By all accounts, those two straps are very comfortable. I haven't personally tried it yet. I haven't had any hands-on contact with the Quest 2 yet. Um, but I've heard that the Elite strap is very comfortable. Only issue is that a lot of people are having them crack. So like the plastic going around like I think like by the side of your head is cracking. And
yeah,
so like just scrolling through Reddit on like the Oculus Quest community, there's all kinds of posts about how people's Elite straps are cracking. Like I'm looking right now and it says this one post says despite my best efforts to preserve it, my Elite strap has multiple cracks after about a week of use. And there's two photos where you can see that it's starting to crack. And
yeah,
knowing how Oculus operates these days, it's going to be months until there's any kind of solution to it.
yay! Fucking Christ!
Yeah, but there is some hope actually because there's this new headset that's been sort of making the rounds on online VR news. The DecaGear headset is it's a new headset from, I don't know if DecaGear is like the brand name. I don't know who is releasing it. 3 weeks ago, seemingly without anyone noticing, self-described serial entrepreneur or Kuntzman announced okay, so it's some entrepreneur that announced this headset. It's I guess it's a competitor with the Quest 2 in terms of price, but it's a competitor with the Reverb G2 in terms of specs. So, quick rundown of the DecaGear headset. It has a resolution of 2160 by 2160 per eye at 90 hertz, which I believe is the same as the HP Reverb G2. It has mouth tracking and face tracking, so it has cameras that are actually inside of the headset that basically monitor all of your minute movements, which I'm sure will not be used for anything nefarious down the line. It has controllers that sort of look like a cross between the Oculus touch controllers and the Valve Index Knuckles controllers, and it reportedly has individual finger tracking like the Index controllers. And the price is $450.
It sounds nice and all, but like I was telling you before, like the big problem I have with it though is it's like it doesn't seem like it's like the Oculus where it's wireless and its own separate console. It just seems
Yeah,
like
it's a Steam VR headset, so you will need a PC to drive it.
yeah, and that's nice and all, but like the problem that I have though is like, what about people like me, people who don't have a PC but have like the Quest and stuff? Like, we're stuck with the Facebook overlords.
Yeah. Yeah,
I know
it's like
someone's jailbreaking the Quest, but
yeah, I've been hearing about that too. Hopefully they have luck with it, and hopefully people will be able to keep their Oculus libraries because there's a lot of good Oculus exclusives.
at this
Um,
point, I'm just not buying a fucking Oculus game. I'm just gonna keep it for the 2 free games I have. And that one game I did buy, but it was like $10, so
what game did you buy?
like Onward, the
Oh,
FPS one.
you
I
got
wanted
it
to
for
try it out.
$10. I thought it was like 20.
It might have been 20. I'm trying to remember. All I know is that it was cheaper than most AAA games, and it was basically the same, but also kind of better.
Yeah. And I believe Vader Immortal is also an Oculus exclusive, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's a shame that Facebook has such a death grip on this portion of the VR gaming industry.
Like, it wouldn't be so bad if they just did it like every other video game company does and just lets people make their accounts how they want.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's like I was saying before, the last VR themed episode we did, that there needs to be more competition in the VR market in general, which is it's good to see the DecaGear, but there needs to be more competition specifically in the standalone market
Yeah.
because it has never been a good thing to have one company with with this much power over a market. And
Yeah, like
it certainly is not good to have Facebook or Daddy Zuck in charge of everyone's headsets.
theoretically what they could do is just like copyright the concept of a wireless headset maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know
They
if
can
there's like if
certainly
laws are still there, but
they can certainly patent um their specific hardware, but I don't think they can get a patent on just having a wireless headset in general.
yeah, I don't
Besides,
know.
if that was going to happen, it would go to HTC because they had a wireless adapter for the Vive years ago.
Yeah,
So luckily I don't think Facebook has any authority to own the concept of a wireless headset.
we hope.
We hope.
They probably buy Oculus just so they can do that.
Now, the larger point that I wanted to make about the Quest 2 is that it was never actually about gaming.
I mean, that's what it feels like with how everything's set up. It feels like anytime you try to do something that involves like actual playing a game, it just messes with all the other stuff. like the fucking party chat thing. It's like, what, they expect me to just sit there and talk to someone?
Yeah. Um it's like I was saying on our episode covering Facebook Connect. I think that was our Bill and Ted review actually, where I talked about Facebook Connect.
I think so.
No, that was before Facebook Connect. So the episode after that. Anyway, I was talking about how everyone was focused on the Quest 2 announcement and all the new games and stuff, which was nice. They announced a lot of cool things at Facebook Connect involving gaming. But remember what I said about Project Aria?
Yeah.
Remember all the stuff that I said about how like it's a huge privacy issue that they can just map out your house?
Yeah. I mean, it is. I don't
Yeah.
want fucking Google or Facebook knowing my exact layout.
Now, I don't want to
How
sound
they
like a
get you.
conspiracy theorist, but if they wanted to lay the groundwork for Project Aria, you know, mapping everything out and having all of the information and, you know, basically being in charge of how you perceive the world, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know, but if they wanted to lay the groundwork for basically their version of Skynet, how would they do it?
probably use the VR headset first to get the recordings of like certain rooms and the parameters in them.
Exactly, they would sell a headset that has cameras on it that can track, if it's smart enough that it can track your hands and it can tell, you know, where things are in a room. It, it seems like they could use that if they wanted to as the groundwork for Project Aria's concept of like mapping everything out, knowing where you keep all your stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Pardon me.
I mean, I don't of course, I don't know what they would use that information for. I don't know how exactly it would be useful for them. I mean, just
It's
off the
probably
top of my
just to
head,
sell
I'm
to fucking ad companies so they can figure out what next to send you.
yeah, I was just gonna say I just thought of like it would be useful for ad companies like you just said. Um,
I mean,
if
that's
they
what they
know
did
that
with all of our information before. They've sold it to ad companies.
yeah, not only do they know everything that you've searched for online, and then they can use that to market to you, but they can tell like, okay, so this person has a treadmill um in their living room, bedroom, whatever. And so maybe we can use this information to market um you know, sports equipment, dietary supplements, exercise gear. We can market this stuff to them. And you know what? If they're really smart, they can see that there's clothes hanging up on hangers on the treadmill, so they can use that to market like Cheetos to you.
Yeah. Like, I
So
don't know.
yeah, like
I'm fine
and
with there being
how would they ensure that this headset this basically visual wiretap, how would they ensure that it would get out to as many people as possible? They would make it $100 cheaper than the previous generation of visual wiretap, and they would make the specs a lot better, and it would seem like such a steal because it doesn't immediately seem to most people like this is just
a
a way for
wiretap.
Facebook to get into everyone's homes.
Yeah. Oh, what a time to be alive.
That's why you should buy the visual wiretap from the other company. Buy Valve's visual wiretap. Now, how long do you think it'll be before Facebook or some other ad company buys up Valve? Fuck off, phone. I need to turn on Do Not Disturb. I keep forgetting to turn on Do Not Disturb.
They're there. I don't think Valve is ever going to be in a position where they need to sell themselves to someone. Like, they're already a pretty decent company that already is buying other companies, so you know.
Yeah. Valve is definitely one of the giants. It's
Yeah.
like when you're playing Agario or Agar.io, however you say it.
Yeah.
Um, they're like one of the big bubbles with like the Soviet flag on them, just
Yeah.
swallowing up all the. Oh, is that HTC? Yoink! But
Yeah.
I mean,
Shit, they might be the
if
biggest.
if one of these companies wanted to acquire them or have some level of control over them, I mean, I'm still in conspiracy theorist mode, so that's where this is coming from. But
Yeah.
you know, who's to say that they couldn't find some dirt on Gabe Newell and just
Oh,
kind of
what? That he's
blackmail him into handing over Daddy Zuck some control or a stream of personal information from everyone.
no, man. We live in we're
We
living
live
in
in a
them
society.
times. Yeah.
We are certainly living in some times.
We currently right here, right now, this is a society.
So, moving on to our next topic, I wanted to talk a little bit about Joe Rogan. He has been the most popular podcaster for like 10 years now. He
Oh
is a very
God, yeah.
successful comedian with a number of Netflix specials. And
Shit, does he actually have a Netflix special?
he has multiple Netflix specials.
My God, I never noticed that.
Well, anyway, his podcast covers pretty much the entire political spectrum from, um, you know,
From normal
from like,
working people to those who want to hunt the poor for sport.
yeah, it ranges from like, you know,
Your fellow
mildly
man.
like social democrats, like, Kyle Kulinski, Crystal Ball, um,
Crystal
you
ball.
know, Jimmy Dore is probably the most left his guests have gotten. That is coming from someone that doesn't watch Joe Rogan religiously, so I might be missing someone. But yeah, it ranges from that to like, actual Nazis. And his show has faced a lot of criticism for that, for basically platforming and ushering in the alt-right. He's had like Dave Rubin on, Ben Shapiro, who, well, they don't call themselves white nationalists or racists or white supremacists, whatever word you want to use. They
They clearly are.
certainly they use coded language. They say like, well, of course I don't agree with white nationalists, but like, and then they go on to like defend
White
um
nationalists.
white nationalists, yeah. And they of course like they attempt to delegitimize any kind of opposition to white nationalists, because like Ben Shapiro, for example, will say like, well, of course, let's just say hypothetically that systemic racism existed, then that would mean that there are explicit laws that are worded to say that black people aren't equal, and that just simply isn't the case.
Your Ben Shapiro impression is just it's too good, Alex. Like I start hearing it and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fucking punch him, and it's like, oh no, wait, that's Alex. That's not Ben Shapiro. That being said, though,
Yeah,
I fucking hate Ben Shapiro's voice. Every
I
time I
know.
hear it, it's like it's got that it's that level of like snarky I'm better than you attitude, but at the same time most of what he says is complete inane bullshit.
Yeah, so anyway, what I was getting at is that he
Oh, yeah, sorry.
he tries to debunk systemic racism. This is just one example of how he's terrible for the political discourse. But Ben Shapiro, when he talks about systemic racism, he says that if systemic racism was real, which it is,
It
by the
is.
way,
Yeah.
he thinks that the definition of it is that like, um like pre civil rights era, like explicit explicit wording of laws to be like, black people and white people cannot use the same drinking fountain. He thinks that that is what systemic racism is, as opposed to like, like redlining and um implicit biases in like employment, for example. He acts like it's not real because we don't have any specific laws that say that black people aren't allowed the same economic opportunities as white people.
Yeah.
And he has on like Dave Rubin, who, well, he is himself gay, which you'd think would make him kind of distance himself from the alt right, which is notoriously, homophobic. Um,
Yeah.
he is instead a mouthpiece for the alt right. He's basically like the Candace Owens of gay men.
Candace Owens?
So Candace Owens is like the Dave Rubin for black people.
Ah, okay. So I've seen him before now. I just didn't know what his name was.
So you don't know who she is?
Oh, I'm thinking of someone else then.
Candace Owens, it's worth explaining. Candace Owens is she's an African American female political pundit slash like author. She does a lot of like conservative
Okay. Now I know who you're
commentary, like on
talking
Fox
about
News and stuff.
now. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Fox News reporter.
I don't know if she's a Fox News reporter specifically. I know she does go on Fox News a lot, but
I thought she
I think
was a
she's
reporter.
primarily like an author.
Yeah. She's on there
Either
enough for
way.
me to think that she works for them.
Yeah. Either way, she's like their token black person that is allowed to say like, oh, black people are just so lazy, and that's why they don't get that's why there's a wealth gap between white people and black people. Like, if a white man
How
went
much
on
do
and
they
said
pay her
that,
to
then
say that?
he would get run out of town. And then she goes on and says it, and it's like, well, she can't be racist. She can't possibly be racist because look at her, she's black.
Oh my god. I mean, that's basically the mindset behind it, though.
Anyway, going back to Joe Rogan, he has these people on his show, and I just want to go through this point by point. I have some notes that I wrote down. First point that I wrote down is don't platform Nazis.
Yeah.
Which is a very hyperbolic way of saying that my nuanced take of like, you shouldn't use your vast audience to promote ideas that are just harmful to society.
Yeah. I'd go a step further and just say, don't use your platform to promote ideas that even yourself you don't believe in. Like if you don't believe in something, don't fucking invite the spokesperson of it on. Because like that's just gonna be a dumpster fire, and then you're gonna wind up with Joe Rogan. I
Yeah.
agree with everyone that's on my podcast, Rogan.
Yeah. And this is another point that I wrote down. If you are going to be platforming everybody, which is what he does.
Yeah.
Well, sort of. He doesn't platform everybody. He platforms his alt-right friends and some left-wing YouTube commentators that everyone pressures him to have on the show. But yeah, if you're going to be having on all these people that represent all kinds of points on the political spectrum, ranging from left wing to wrong, then you should at least be knowledgeable enough to push back on what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so many clips of Dave Rubin or Ben Shapiro or whoever else, like Jordan Peterson. He's been on a couple times, I think, where these people just go on about how like the left is really bad because they do identity politics, and when they do it, they say that that transgender people are all victims and everything, and the right also does identity politics, to a degree, I would say, but it's hardly to the degree that the left does it. It's a very small sliver
Why
of the
is
right
that
that
a
does
bad
identity
thing
politics.
though?
Yeah, it depends on what your definition is of identity politics.
Like I assume identity politics is just like letting people change their gender.
Yeah.
I
I've I don't
Does
know
that go
if I've
against
done it on the
God?
show specifically, but I have just in general, I've talked about how identity politics is bad. But when I say identity politics, I'm talking about people that are, let's just say, running for office,
Oh
and they say
yeah.
like, I'm, I'm
I'm gonna be the first blank in office.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
They're
okay, yeah,
trying
but what do
to
you believe in? Are you going to liquefy homeless people, or are you going to like try to make the world a better place? I don't care if you're the first
exactly.
fucking. I don't care if we have the first fucking solid gold midget in the fucking office. If that guy is promoting death to everyone that isn't a solid gold midget, don't vote him in.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm talking about when I say
We don't
identity
need to.
politics.
We're not a paper company in New York. We don't need to check off the minority lists as we hire them
Yeah,
in.
yeah. What I refer to is just filling in boxes
Yeah.
for things that you are. But when Dave Rubin talks about identity politics, like he did in the clip that I was referencing a minute ago, he is talking about like, um, I guess letting trans people be who they are.
You know, giving trans people basic human rights.
Yeah, yeah, like
That's his
protections.
idea of the bad side of identity politics.
Yeah, like protections for trans people, like making it like adding like legal penalties if you target and harass and attack physically attack transgender people, or even like harass online. If you harass a trans person online, some people say like there should be consequences for that, which is true. You shouldn't be allowed to target trans people in the same way that you shouldn't be allowed to target black people. Um, but Dave Rubin would refer to that as identity politics.
Yeah, because he's he wants to hunt the poor for sport.
Yeah. Like Black Lives Matter, according to Dave Rubin, would be identity politics when it's clearly
It has nothing to do
just
with identity, though.
yeah. I mean, I guess it does in the sense that like these people with a specific racial identity, being African American, are trying to
Not get
combat.
shot all the
Yeah,
time.
they're trying to combat police brutality, and people on the right will be like, well, white people get shot by the police too. It's like, well, that's not what this is about.
Like, well, okay, then you should be, going in the street too. There's obviously a problem here.
Yeah, I hardly see anyone respond with that point. Like, okay, yeah, police do get shot by the or white people do also get shot by the police too. Definitely not as much. But if you're upset about that, yeah, join the protests. Police shouldn't be randomly shooting people.
Yeah, it's like if
But yeah,
I don't
um
understand. Like, are they just okay with the police just shooting people as long as the black people die too? Is that what they're trying to
I
get at?
guess. I guess apparently. But
What the fuck?
anyway, yeah. Um that's all background to my point that if Joe Rogan wants to talk to these people and he wants to have finger quotes debate with them about these issues, he should be knowledgeable enough to push back and say like, no, African Americans are targeted more by the police, so they should get more protection. Disproportionate force against them should be met with disproportionate protection for them. It's simple math.
Yeah.
But he's such an ape. He just doesn't have these points like in his memory banks, I guess. It's like we
His
were
data
talking about
banks are
before.
dry.
Yeah. It's like we were saying before how he only knows as much as his last guest.
Yeah. and then like he just resets afterwards. He's like, I am
Yeah.
I have new alignments.
Yeah.
It is time to do. Which person are we doing again? Ah, the other side of the rainbow.
Now, I did also want to touch on this point. Whenever it's brought up that maybe Joe Rogan shouldn't have certain people on his show, or let's just say someone's going to do a talk at a college campus, and a bunch of students protest, saying that they don't want this person speaking at their school. People will refer to that as like censorship or like silencing these people.
Yeah, but it depends on what they're saying, in my opinion. Like if the guy is if it's just like someone trying to talk about, if they're gonna have a civilized discussion about like what we should do about the tax problem in the United States, okay, that's one thing. But if they're gonna
Well,
talk
a
about like
civil
whether or
and
not we should
educated conversation. A
yeah,
conversation between Joe
well,
Rogan and Dave Rubin can be civil, but neither one of them are going to know what they're talking about.
yeah. But no, what I mean though is like if it depends on the context of like what the discussion is. If it's like something about like dealing with the economics of our country and stuff like that, yeah, they should talk. If the debate though is whether or not we should hunt trans people for sport, you know, maybe those college kids have a point.
Yeah. And I just
That's not the reaction a sane person should have.
Yeah, and in my opinion,
This
there
person does
is
something in my religion that I think is wrong. Let's
there is
kill
a
them.
there is a clear difference between censorship and just vetting your guests.
Yeah.
Like there's like if you're saying some like out there ideas and the government doesn't want you saying those things, so they threaten, coerce, force, whatever, they make you stop saying that thing, that's censorship.
Yeah.
If you want to go on a talk show and spout these ideas and they decide that they don't want to have you on, that's not censorship. That's just them choosing who they want to have on their show.
Yeah.
Now, am I being censored because I'm not saying this on Joe Rogan's podcast? No.
No,
We
Alex,
just
you are
don't have
being
the listener
censored.
base
We have
yet.
to go and assassinate Joe Rogan.
We
Quick,
just
my
don't
dear listeners, rise
we just
up.
don't have the listener base yet. All right, we gotta grow our audience by like 10,000 times, and then we'll probably be big enough to be on his radar.
Be big enough. We just gotta expand.
It's like we were saying earlier with Agario or agar.io.
We have
however
to
you say
become
it.
one of the large masses.
Yes.
Like not too big to where like Microsoft or like Valve would buy us, but like big enough to where Joe Rogan will notice us. Like, hey, they seem like a nice little morsel, but they're almost my size though. Let's talk. But then of course, we have to be careful because if he gets bigger than us, he will devour us on his show. It'll just like lunge over the table. Did my thing die again?
No,
Okay.
I was just eating something.
Was it Joe Rogan? I don't think I could ever do what he does just because like so many things piss me off nowadays. It's like I'd probably get into like a screaming match with someone.
Hey, that's good for views.
It's good for views, but at the same time it's not good for my health.
Now, I just got to say, like, we're saying a lot of big ideas on this show. Okay, we're setting up our booth in the marketplace of ideas.
Yeah.
And I just got to say, we are being heavily censored because CNN won't allow us on to talk about these issues.
Yeah, why aren't we being invited to CNN interviews? Where are you, CNN? You're censorship.
Censored.
We have to go riot in the streets at CNN headquarters. Where is CNN station? New York?
Probably.
Let's go there. Let's go to New York and let's form a human circle around CNN. Force them to interview us. We just wanted to be on
CNN
TV.
interview us or else you're big gay.
Yeah. Get wrecked, scrub. Do 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 do.
Now I just want to make this one last point in the Joe Rogan section.
Yeah.
So I was touching on this earlier, but we got to stop pretending that Ben Shapiro and people like him are smart and have good ideas.
Just because you talk fast doesn't make you smart. My parents have been telling me that since I was born.
Yeah, like whenever someone pushes back on Joe Rogan, and whenever someone is like, why do you have these people on your show? Like, why do you have Ben Shapiro on? Like Duncan Trussell was talking about this when he was on Joe Rogan. He was like, "Why do you have that guy on? He's so silly. He's such a he's a doofus." And
Yeah.
Joe Rogan always says like, "Well, he's a smart guy, and he's really nice. He's really nice to me."
Well, yeah, Joe, you're white.
Yeah, it's like what happened with Ellen. It's like, well, Ellen is nice to me personally, so I can't see how she would possibly be problematic around anyone else.
Yeah.
Well, Ben Shapiro is nice to me. I can't imagine how he would be, problematic for any other minority groups. And he says that hip hop isn't music, and the inner city culture is lazy. I can't imagine how that would be problematic for anyone else because he's nice to me, a white man personally.
A white, balding, middle-aged man. Ben
Yeah,
Shapiro's perfect demographic.
Joe Rogan, I know that he has a sense of right and wrong. I know that he's a pretty liberal guy. I would say from what I've seen of him, but he looks like a skinhead.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a fucking armband underneath his shirt.
Yeah, I mean, I know that he's not like a Nazi or anything. I just want to say that, and I know that
Imagine
I
a
know
Joe
that
Rogan
appearances.
episode. Appearances are deceiving, and you shouldn't judge someone based on them. However, I'm just saying if Joe Rogan at some point during a video pulled off his shirt and revealed a giant swastika tattoo to his chest, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm just saying that it's no wonder these people like him so much.
They're like, oh, he looks just like me.
He looks like someone you could casually drop the N word around.
And when you're also white,
Yeah.
he looks like someone that would casually drop the N word when you're around.
All right. So do you want to move on to our last topic for the show?
Yeah, let's do it. Oh my god, pardon me.
A few episodes ago, we did we talked about Quibi, which
Quibi.
was a streaming app that came out during the pandemic, right at the start. It was originally only on mobile devices. Then they made a TV app. Um,
If I remember correctly, it
well,
was doing pretty good recently, yeah?
no,
No? No, I'm thinking of something else
no.
again.
So they did a free month, a free 3 month trial, and at the end of that, they only actually retained about 7% of their audience, from what I remember.
You're shitting me.
It's completely true. I could not make this up. They retain definitely under 10% of the audience, if not 7%. Basically, no one wanted to actually pay for it. It was founded by Jeffrey Katzenberg, and the CEO is Meg Whitman. They invested nearly $2 billion into the startup, and they got according to this article, they got 2 Emmy wins. They had Lawrence Fishburne for the series Free Ray Sean. They got a lot of A-list actors to do shows for them. They had Reno 911 on Quibi. I think they did like a reboot of it or something. I never watched it because I never used it. But yeah, Jared, are you aware of the recent developments with Quibi?
I'm not sure. What are the recent developments?
Well, it is shutting down actually.
Oh, well, fuck! I guess it
Yeah.
isn't doing too well.
It's shutting down after barely 6 months of operation.
That
I'm
is
just gonna let that sit in.
I don't know who sped run death faster, them or Blockbuster.
Blockbuster was dominating the movie rental industry for years, so I don't think it's fair to compare the two. Now they did die quickly because they refused to change with the times, but I mean, Quibi was never up to date to begin with.
True.
The app itself it seemed like it was trying to combine the best parts of YouTube and Netflix, but really it just ended up being worse than the two. Like it took the production quality of like a Netflix original and the short form content of YouTube, and I guess the portability of YouTube also, because if you're out on like if you're on the subway, or if you're and you're you know if you're out and you're not doing anything for a few minutes, you're probably more likely to open YouTube and watch a shorter video than you are to watch a show on Netflix. That's kind of what they were going for. But yeah, apparently no one wants to watch a TV show that has 10-minute episodes.
No, I'm not surprised it's dying out if it's like that fucking shit. But at the same time, though, it's like, I don't know, it is kind of upsetting.
Yeah. I mean, it was something
'Cause, you know,
different, and I guess it is good to have something different in the market, but
yeah, absolutely.
they
Especially
had
like in a
they had
market.
to have done better.
Yeah. No, this is sad. This is just really fucking sad.
Yeah. And I still think it was definitely a front for something. So, listeners, if you didn't listen to our episode that we where we talked about Quibi, I said in that episode that it's got to be like a front for something, because like it's got to be like money laundering or something, because who puts 1.8 billion dollars into a startup that just on paper doesn't work?
Yeah.
Or at least like who puts that much money into something that you don't know for sure is going to work? And this is coming from the CEO, the former CEO of Disney. So it's a guy that's been around the industry. He knows what he's doing.
He's just like, you know what, guys? I have an idea. Let's just shoot ourselves in the collective foot.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't know what it could be a front for, but there's no way it's a legitimate business.
Yeah. I don't
How
know.
sad is it though? How sad is it though that the only logical explanation for Quibi's existence is some crime?
Yeah. It's definitely quite sad and pathetic. I it's sad to see a company get shit on though, but they probably
Really, I love to see it.
you love to see it.
I love to see it.
Ah, I will admit it is funny though. Couldn't have happened to a weirder streaming service.
Yeah, and this is only like a couple months after they added TV support for the app too.
They just added TV support.
Yeah, so like I said before, it was mobile only, and then they added Chromecast support very recently. And I'm sure they have like apps for different smart streaming devices.
Yeah.
Just going through their list of shows, they have a show with Anna Kendrick called Dummy. I haven't seen it, but from the poster it looks like your average typical girl makes friends with a sex doll.
I've seen it. Okay, I've seen the commercials you're talking about. I haven't seen the actual movie, but I know exactly what you're talking about. And that looks
Really, what is
fucking
it?
horrifying. I haven't seen it, but it's a show where she makes friends with her boyfriend's sex doll. That's like a radical feminist.
Okay, so I was right.
Yeah, and it's
Wow.
just I don't know who was doing LSD at the time, but it definitely sounds like something that was born out of that kind of a you know, one of those kind of parties.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they
no,
also did
that's one of their originals.
yeah,
Fucking hell.
they also did an adaptation of The Most Dangerous Game, which was split into 10-minute episodes, of course, but I
What the
believe it was roughly the length of a movie.
What
And
I'm trying to figure out
they had
is
Liam Hemsworth in the starring role.
what is the point of having a movie adaptation of a story that only like 6 people now have heard of, myself included? Ow, fuck! I dropped some shit.
And then, of course, they brought Reno 911 onto the platform
In 10-minute increments.
Probably. Oh, they got the Chrissy Teigen court show. They got that show with Lawrence Fishburne. # free Rayshawn.
Free Rayshawn.
Yeah. They got Punked on the platform.
Punk?
So, Punked, yeah, that show with Ashton Kutcher where he like pranks people.
Oh, yep, I know what you're talking about now.
Gaslighting, but fun.
Not wrong.
But yeah, Quibi almost seems like believe there was that movie that you were talking about. You told me about it a while ago. It's a movie with what's his name? Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was in this movie where like he inherits a bunch of money and he has to spend it or else he loses it. So he runs for office.
The one where I forget the name of it, but the entire time he's running for office, he's like, vote none of the above. Don't vote for me or the other guy. Fuck it. At the end of the movie, like there's also like he's trying to keep his girlfriend and shit who works at a fake McDonald's. Because it's one of those movies where like there's companies and stuff that have the same logos and have similar logos and branding to real life companies, but they don't have the rights to them, so they're just like, oh, it's McDonald's, Michelangelo's. The burger place that everyone goes to, like Taco King and Burger Bell. You go there to buy a half weight.
Yeah, hold on. I'm looking through his movies that he's been in to see if I can find the title.
Yeah, do it.
Yep, the name of it is Brewster's Millions.
All right.
Oh, it has John Candy in it.
Ooh, I hope he's sweet. The joke is his last name is Candy.
Thank you. It has Jerry Orbach from the famous John Mulaney bit about how he donated his eyes to science or something.
He donated his eyes to 2 New Yorkers. Like he died. And he gave the gift of sight to 2 New Yorkers, which means there's 2 people who have Jerry Orbach's eyes.
I don't know how to feel about you knowing that bit so well.
I watch John Mulaney a lot. I can probably say it word for word.
He's hosting SNL on the 31st, so the day after this episode comes out.
Will it be anything like Bill Burr, though?
Well, no, because he's very different.
I know.
He's a lot safer. For being someone that used to do a lot of drugs, he is a lot safer comedian than Bill Burr.
Yeah, it's because he knows how to get an audience. They both like cater to very specific demographics. John Mulaney likes to cater to the people who need a Brian Regan replacement so they can make their Animaniacs. Animaniacs? No, that's a cartoon show. Animatics. Those YouTube videos where they take audio from some comedian's performance and then put like their cringy OCs over it. Or Undertale characters. Or
People
Bionicles.
do that with Joe Rogan.
People do that with
podcast.
anything. But like these certain people though, is like they're made for that. Like I remember Brian Regan had a whole bunch of comedy shows and stuff. People would use those all the time for those. And it's the same thing, but now with John Mulaney, because he's just such a sweet and innocent boy. Clearly, he reflects these other people's ideas.
Yes. All right, so that's the show for this week.
Oh yeah.
Hold on.
What's up?
Haley just texted me. This is breaking news. She just said that Joe Rogan, Kyle Kulinski, and Alex Jones are doing an Election Day special.
You're joking.
Okay, I gotta look this up. All right, I was just about to close this out,
but now something interesting has transpired.
I'm watching a video on it right now. It's just a couple minutes. I'm gonna listen to it and then tell you about it.
Do it.
All right, I just finished the video. So Kyle Kulinski just uploaded basically his live reaction. So Joe Rogan, Tim Dillon, and Kyle Kulinski were going to do a podcast on the day of on election day. They were going to do live coverage of the election, and Joe Rogan actually just recorded an episode with Alex Jones and Tim Dillon today. And apparently Alex Jones just kind of invited himself onto the election day special.
What?
Yeah, so Kyle Kulinski just uploaded his reaction to hearing about that and like basically announcing it.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that'll be something to see. That's must watch television right there.
I would watch it, but I don't know if I could survive that.
I know, like, yeah. So we'll have our reaction to that, I guess, after that happens.
Oh boy.
That is if this country's still standing after the election. Heyo.
Heyo.
Heyo. This country will die if we elect bad man. Everything will explode if we elect bad man. All right, so that's exciting news.
Yes.
So anyway, that's the show now. That's the show.
That's all, folks. Get the fuck out of my house.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to Bold of You to Say. If you like today's episode, be sure to like, subscribe, share with a friend.
Give me money.
Yeah, we donate to our donation page, which will be linked at the bottom of the description.
I said
you don't have to. You'll get nothing out of it, but it's there. It doesn't make economic sense to donate to us, just so you know. We don't offer anything. Full transparency.
We don't offer anything, but I can promise you, you donate to us, you'll get a warm feeling in your loins.
You'll get a special thank you.
I will pee in your pants for you. I will make you pee your pants if you vote for us, if you donate to us. And if you vote for us,
that is a promise.
I will go to your house, I will rip your pants off, throw them on the ground, piss on them, and then throw them back at you and say, you're a dirty little boy, aren't you? Dirty boy. And then I'll go home.
Now, if you disagreed with anything that we said in today's episode, you can leave a comment if you're listening on YouTube. You can yell at us on social media. All of our social media, our Twitter, Instagram, etc. will be linked down below in the description. Subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. We're probably going to review Borat 2, so you keep an eye out for that.
Oh, and to all the lovely ladies, I am still single. Please, for the love of God, help me.
All right, and with that, this has been Bold of You to Say. I am Alex Myers.
Remember,
the
media vampires are everywhere.
Yet. We need a catchphrase, Jared. We need to come up with a snappy catchphrase to sign the show off with.
There are thermonuclear grenades in the satchel hidden underneath seat 11 on flight 1911.
See, that's a little wordy. I don't know if we should go with that.
They are rigged to explode on my mark.
All right.
Viva la revolution.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Good night, everybody.
Good
I love
night,
you all.
Or morning, whenever you're listening to this.
You know what, you guys?
Really, you're allowed to listen to it at whatever time of day you want.
You have to listen to this in between the hours of 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Any other time, you will be shot on sight. This is an executive order from my desk to your ears.
What can I say? I don't make the rules. I just enforce them.
Load shotgun. Now watch it whenever you want. I don't give a shit. I love y'all. Night.
Right.
Morning. Fuck you.
Good 9 a.m. through 9 p.m.
Good tomorrow, citizen. And we did it, Reddit.